What are your options if you want to stay warm during winter camping? Why have I gone for a diesel heater? What features do you need to keep in mind to pick the correct diesel heater for your needs? How do you set it up, and especially for tent camping? Because there are some specifics. Of course, we're going to see how it works, and I'll tell you some considerations that you might want to have that nobody else seems to talk about. Let's get into all the details right now. Hey guys, it's George here and you're watching the 4x4 Lab. And we're here at the beginning of January because the winter is already here and we have started camping. Last night the temperature was just below freezing and I'm happy to say that I'm ready for a whole new season of camping with this thing here. And I wanted to talk to you about what are the options if you want to go winter camping, how to stay warm. First, of course, you have perhaps the most logical method, which is to have multiple layers of clothes and thick sleeping bags that are rated for winter temperatures. Well, my issue with that is that I don't personally feel comfortable sleeping in so many layers of clothes, and in these sleeping bags it is difficult to move around it. And let's not forget that these sleeping bags are very expensive. And if you go with your partner, you will need 2 sleeping bags. Moving on to option number 2 is of course the electric blankets. Because if you have electricity and a second dual battery setup, you can of course have an electric sleeping blanket. But usually they're very short, so they will not cover you from head to toe. And if you have a partner or a dog, you need to have additional electric blankets for them. And the issue with these blankets is they consume a lot of electricity. So you'll probably be struggling even if you have, like me, 100 amp hours of battery. It's still an option, but you need to have plenty of electricity. And let's not forget that the air that you're breathing is still going to be cold. This brings me to option number 3, which has become very popular in recent years, which are the propane heaters. Well, I don't know where this all started, but propane heaters are not meant for indoor use. They're not made to be used in the tent. They're dangerous and a fire hazard, and you can actually die in your sleep, let's be honest. So I wouldn't ever recommend propane heaters. You can read the manual of one of those. They're not made for indoor use. This brings me to the 4th option, which is of course the diesel heater. And it is actually less expensive than all of the previous options, except of course the propane heaters, which are, as we said, not designed for indoor use. And in my case, I'm carrying diesel either way because of the Hilux. I have a dual battery setup, so enough electricity to run the pump, even though it is not that demanding. And the good thing about this is that it keeps the air that you're breathing warm inside the tent, and it prevents condensation, which is usually a big issue when winter camping. At least in my opinion, this is the best option. Now let's jump into a short buying guide of what features you need to keep in mind to pick the correct diesel heater for your needs. Well, let's start off by saying that all Chinese diesel heaters, doesn't matter which brand, they're all knockoffs of Webasto. Webasto have been making diesel heaters for years now, but they're very, very expensive. And the Chinese diesel heaters are usually between 100 and 200 euro. And because they're so cheap, most people don't care that they might not have the same level of reputation or presumably quality that Webasto heaters are going to have. Here is what the construction is like. You have the fuel tank above, the heater all in one element below, and here is the fuel line and fuel pump. Below is the air inlet and air outlet for the fuel combustion, and keep in mind that these units need to stay upright when operational. You'll immediately notice that there are several versions in terms of power. They're usually a 2 kilowatt version, a 5 kilowatt, and an 8 kilowatt version. These things are usually made to heat up, let's say, a garage. And in the case of a tent, all these options are going to be plenty. So even a 2 kilowatt diesel heater is going to be fine for you if you're going tent camping. If you have a van or garage, you might need a 5 or an 8 kilowatt. Next, you have the form factor. This is a vertical all-in-one diesel heater, which means that the fuel tank is placed above the heating element, which is right here. If you see a horizontal version, that is a more square one, this just means that the fuel tank has been placed next to the heating element. When you're choosing between a vertical and a horizontal diesel heater, you just need to think about where you're going to carry it. Well, in my setup, I'm carrying the diesel heater right next to the fridge. So a thin vertical version is perfect for me. But think about your vehicle before buying a heater. Where are you going to place it? Is it a vertical or horizontal the better option? For example, if you're using the roof rack, then a shorter but wider horizontal version is probably going to work better. Now, some extra features that might be important to you. First, it is the plateau, or some brands call it the altitude mode. This means that the heater is going to function even if you go into a higher elevation. So if you're planning trips or you're living close to mountains that are above 2,000 or 3,000 meters, you will need a diesel heater with the plateau mode or altitude mode, because otherwise it is not going to work above 3,000 meters. And with this feature, it is adjusting the air to fuel ratio, so it works fine in optimal performance of up to 5,500 meters. The other feature is the Bluetooth app. Some diesel heaters, and Vevor in this case, do have a Bluetooth app that you can download on your phone. And what makes this app so useful is that, okay, diesel heaters have a remote control, but on the remote control you cannot see what you're doing. What mode are you on? Which level of heating are you on? And what makes it a deal breaker for me is that you cannot troubleshoot. If the diesel heater stops working, you have to get dressed, go out in the freezing cold in the middle of the night to troubleshoot why it has stopped working. Is it not enough diesel? Is it an overheating issue? And with the Bluetooth app, you can easily see it on the phone. Okay, then I can restart it, lower down the temperature, and avoid the overheating issue. So I would never get a diesel heater without a Bluetooth app. All right, now you have bought the diesel heater that you need, and you need to set it up. There are a couple of things you need to do before using it for the first time. First off, these diesel heaters come with bare wires, because you might have different setup, different needs, and different ways to connect it to your battery. So you have two exposed wires. Some people use a cigarette lighter plug, but these are not really rated for the amount of electricity that is going to pass through, because on startup, this is using more than 10 up to 15 amps. And a cigarette lighter plug, I don't think it's enough. So just find a decent adapter that is rated for these sorts of things. Of course, the other end of the adapter needs to be connected directly to the battery. This one has an inline fuse, so you don't need to think about that. The wires are protected. So just an adapter and a solid connection to the battery. Most Chinese diesel heaters would have two modes of operation, which are of course adjusted by the LCD display, the remote control, and the Bluetooth app on the phone if you have one. The first mode is just levels from 1 to 10. Is it blowing a lot of hot air or not that much? That works in most situations. And the other mode is the temperature setting. So you set a desired temperature for, let's say, 20 degrees Celsius, and it will blow hot air on a high level until it reaches the desired temperature, and then turn it down. The issue is that the thermometer is inside the LCD display, which is detachable but has a very short cable. So you need to extend the cable to get the LCD display with you in the tent if you want to use the temperature setting. Otherwise, it's not going to work and you just have to use the levels from 1 to 10. You have probably noticed that I have two wooden legs that I have screwed to the bottom of the diesel heater. The reason for that is that it is difficult to bend the exhaust pipe enough so it clears the height of the legs of the diesel heater itself. In addition, if you don't have a thermal sleeve like this, and there is dry leaves or grass underneath the diesel heater, it becomes a fire hazard because this thing can get really hot. So just get a plank 2 by 2 inches, screw it to the feet of the diesel heater, and it is just enough to clear it from the ground. That would be my recommendation, at least. Now, in particular for tent camping, you need to get the warm air that comes from the air outlet up to your tent. Well, there is only one good option to do that, and that's a simple dryer hose. These are plastic on the outside and aluminum foil on the inside. It has a guiding wire that makes the hose easy to pack up after using it. Now, don't be tempted to get a 3-inch dryer hose, even though the outlet is 3-inch. Get a 4-inch, so an oversized dryer hose, because if you run these heaters on high, a 3-inch dryer hose like this is going to cause overheating issues, so it will stop working and you have to reduce the temperature. I have used a 4-inch hose, run it on high the entire night and didn't have any issues. How do you connect it to the outlet? Well, I guess you can really just duct tape it, or I have used the original pipe that comes with the heater and an adapter from 3-inch to 4-inch, again included in the kit, and didn't have any issue with that. It fits like a glove. So don't be tempted to get a 3-inch, get a 4-inch dryer hose and you won't have any issues. Now let's get this thing started and show you how it works. As mentioned, with the wooden legs you can place it on the ground, but I'll keep it on the table so you can see it better. Now I have my wires ready with the plug, just on the other side, right here. The clock is on, so you can see it is getting power, and you can turn it on by the power button here or from the remote, on and off. Let's start it.
Start heating.
Now it's starting to draw more power, so we can hit the start plug and ignite the fuel. It is already blowing some cold air, so the fan is working. And here is the noise that you're looking for. That starts the ignition. In the beginning, the fuel pump is what you're hearing. It is louder and there is a bit more smoke, but after it heats up, after 1 or 2 minutes more, it goes in a more quiet and clean mode. At the beginning, you can see that it's drawing about 10 amps, but this is just to start off the ignition process, and it will go down as soon as it starts working properly. So in my case, it's about 10, 11 amps, and you can see right here it drops to 2.5. It has been about 3 minutes, and it has settled the power consumption to just below 1 amp. The only thing left to do is to get the dryer hose inside the tent. You could have obviously done that before starting the heater. Tighten it down with the zipper in place. And that's pretty much the setup. Now, first consideration, is the machine noisy? Well, I'm right here next to the diesel heater with the microphone, so you guys can hear it for yourself how noisy the fuel pump is, this rhythmic ticking. But I don't mind it, because when you're not right next to the machine, but 2 meters up in the tent, it is further away from you and you hear the sound of the air that is coming, circulating in the tent. You don't hear the fuel pump that much. And in general, if you can sleep with a manual clock on the wall in your room, you can also sleep with this. But some people are really bothered by the noise. Well, my friend Petko got himself a really expensive fuel pump aftermarket just to have that reduced level of noise. So I guess it's something personal, but in 9 out of 10 cases, you usually get used to it. Now, another consideration that I haven't heard anybody else talk about is that the air that is coming inside the tent from the diesel heater is very, very dry. So, if you're like me, one of the people that are waking up with sore throat in the morning because of the air conditioning in your room that is blowing slightly on a lower power 3 meters away from you, well, you're also going to have issue with a diesel heater that is strongly blowing dry air right there in the tent. So this is something you need to keep in mind and be aware of. Lastly, think about the insulation of your tent. In my case, Drifter's rooftop tent, it is perfect for the warm summer, for the Australian deserts, but it is not that great and not insulated for winter camping. This just means that some people are going to have the diesel heater running on first or second level and they'll be perfectly fine. And in my case, I have to run it on fourth, fifth, or even above in some colder temperatures below freezing. This means that the fuel is going to get depleted sooner and you need to carry some extra. When you want to turn off the diesel heater, do not unplug it from the power source. Just press the button
Stop heating.
and wait for it. It will continue to cool down and blow some air until it automatically turns off at the end.
Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
Now it is properly turned off. It takes just a couple of minutes until you pack the rest of your stuff. So, if you want to get this diesel heater, which has the altitude mode, the Bluetooth app and everything else that we just talked about, I'm going to leave a link in the description of the video below so you can follow it and get this exact heater along with the small discount code that you can use on checkout. Thank you again for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below the video and I'll answer them as soon as possible. Of course, like the video because it shows the YouTube algorithm that there is some good content and subscribe to the channel. I also have a Patreon account, so you know what to do to ensure there are some future trips and guides and more content like this. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.